Hello and welcome to the Swing for Contact Baseball Podcast. I am Jonathan Ramey, joined by Noah.
Hi.
And Aiden.
What's up, guys?
and we are in our preview of the 2024 season. Today, the NL Central. The Centrals in both leagues are looking a little rough. But I do think this is maybe the closest division in terms of 1 through 5. Like, I really don't know who's going to win this thing. I kind of think it could be anybody. Last year, the Milwaukee Brewers won it with a 92-70 record. They've had some major changes. The Cubs got above 500. Cincinnati played above 500. Pittsburgh was just below it. And then the Cardinals had a really bad year. I think they've addressed some of their issues. So much so that Fangraphs has them moving up kind of high. So before we get to the teams, just initial thoughts on the NL Central. Anything that's just like, yo, I got to say this.
It's boring.
It's boring.
The Central divisions are not known for their powerhouses. Let's just say that.
Fair enough. From worst to first, St. Louis Cardinals on the Fangraphs has them at 83-79, so just a hair over 500. They couldn't pitch. You know, we watched a lot of bad pitching in St. Louis last year. They went and added 4 pitchers through free agency. Sonny Gray on a 3-year deal, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, and then Kenyon Middleton. And then they added some players, some veteran lefty bats to their bench. Maybe see some starts depending on how some of those young players, some of those rookies kind of come in. Cardinals, initial thoughts on pitching acquisitions?
They just signed a bunch of old people. I mean, you get rid of Wainwright, and then you go in free agency. You know, a lot of people had them for Snell. I like them for Snell. Snell is about to take a small contract like the Yankees or something. I don't know, but I don't like the Cardinals still. I think the line's decent because it's the Central. I don't think they're going to go further than a round into the playoffs if they make the playoffs. I'd probably say I like the Cubs a little bit more. But don't like what they picked up pitching-wise. I still think it's one of the biggest weaknesses in the MLB at this point. Their starting pitching is. Sonny Gray will possibly go out there and be a good ace, but everything around him I just don't like at all. The bats should be better than they were last year. Like Arenado, he started off really slow last year. Goldschmidt didn't have a year really comparable to his MVP season the year before. Jordan Walker should get a lot more playing time this year. He had gone down the year before. So there's stuff like that, hopefully.
I like the pitching, the pitchers they bring in. No disrespect. I don't know who Kenyon Middleton is. Forgive
The
me.
reliever from the Yankees, I believe.
Okay. Lance Lynn, how old is he?
35?
Okay.
I think so.
If he can just give a couple quality starts, right? A couple quality starts, this division's up for grabs. I know he had a really bad season last season.
3 home runs a game. Quality start.
I know.
Technically.
I know. It's because he played for the Dodgers. Now things can change. Kyle Gibson, everywhere he's gone, he's been a good arm. I don't care how old he is. Philly, good arm. Texas, good arm. Baltimore, good arm.
I wouldn't necessarily call him a good arm last year.
He is a good arm.
He had a 4.7 ERA.
I mean, how far off of that was from league average?
I don't know. I haven't checked, but I mean, he's had a 5 ERA since 2021. Had a 4.7 last year. I don't know. I'm not a big Kyle Gibson fan.
Here's the thing about Kyle Gibson.
Hold on. Time out. Didn't we just say last year that we weren't really big ERA kind of guys? So now we're going to start.
ERA is not the big thing, but it's not my main thing, but it's a thing. Like batting average isn't the biggest thing, but batting average is still a thing for me. Like I want my guy to be at least hitting 250. I want my pitcher to not be in the high 4.7s or in the high 4s.
Here's what I'll say in defense of Kyle Gibson for you, Noah. Last year, even with his 4.7 ERA, he had a 4.1 FIP. Okay. He had a positive WAR. He had a 2.5 WAR, 2.6 WAR on Fangraphs. 192 innings of 4.7. About a 50% ground ball rate. And it looks like from an ERA minus perspective, he was a little bit, he was about 10% worse than league average in ERA, but he was 2% better in FIP. So, I think we're still going to like that 4.5 is kind of an average starting pitcher. And there's some good things that he did to earn a 2.5 WAR from Fangraphs. He's a decent 3.
Baltimore though, and but do they have? My thing is, do they have a 2?
I
would, if I have Kyle Gibson in my rotation, I'm thinking he's a 3 or 4, and he's gonna slot in as their 2. Like there's no and ifs or buts about it.
I mean, Michaelis will probably be there too.
Yeah, that rotation's so bad.
It'll be Sonny Gray, Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, Stephen Matz.
Oh, that's disgusting.
All 5 of their guys are going to be free agent acquisitions. Nobody was like.
Do they have any pitching prospects that look decent? I haven't really checked.
There's 2 guys that came over in the Toronto trade from last year. Roberse, I'm not sure, and then Kloffenstein, great name. They came over in the Toronto trade. They could see debuts. They ranked pretty highly. And then Zach Thompson and Matthew Liebertor made like their little cup of coffee debut last year.
They need to make a trade with one of these infield prospects or outfielders for just something pitching wise.
And then at the back end of the bullpen, Ryan Helsley and Gallegos have been there for a while, and they're okay. They're good, but they're not win the division, make a playoff good, I don't think. Oh, I can't wait to see what happens here.
Yeah.
No.
Anyways, it's a sucky division. You get hot at the right time, you might just win the damn thing. Okay.
I don't even think you have to get hot. I thought you were talking about in this division. I think you have to get.
Nolan Gorman, Jordan Walker, former first-round picks. They're going to probably get the majority of the play this year in that lineup. Mason Wynn is a second-round pick that they had that came up all the way through their farm. He'll probably be the shortstop. They brought in a guy like Crawford. If Mason Wynn doesn't produce, well, you can throw a veteran guy, Brandon Crawford, out there. They might even play some split stuff with him. The lineup's not bad. Arenado should have a bounce back. Is Goldie an MVP candidate? No, but could he have another like top 20, top 15 type of season? Yes. I think that's still in there for him, especially if he wants to get another contract. This is a walk year for him. So if he wants to keep playing past this year's a really important year for him offensively. 83 and 79 on the Fangraphs. Over under for your St. Louis Cardinals.
Under.
Give me the under by like literally a 5-game radius.
I'm going to say that some of these rookies hit and they're going to get the over just barely. I think having Milwaukee maybe be a little bit worse is going to benefit them a little bit. So I'll take the over to be different, and I think it's an 84-85 type of win ball team. Moving on to the Chicago Cubs, projected to slot in number 2, 81 and 81. Aiden, you said you kind of like the Cubs better. I kind of like the Cubs better too, but there's still some issues here. What's your thoughts on the Cubs?
So the Cubs also don't have the strongest rotation, but I think their rotation is like miles better than St. Louis's, to be honest. I like Steele a lot. They got Steele. I believe Fangraphs has the rotation set of Steele, Talion. I think that's how you say it.
Tyone, but yeah.
Tyone, Shota, Imanaga, Hendricks, and then Wicks. So Wicks was a rookie last year, I believe, and he iffy. I mean, he had a low 4.3. So
You take that.
as a rookie, it's not really that bad. He's going to be coming up there. They've got that. I think they're going to start out prospect Pete Crow Armstrong in center field this year. Actually, they're bringing Bellinger back. I wonder if Bellinger's going to start in center field. Maybe move Armstrong to the corner, or
I don't
I don't
know.
know. I'd want Armstrong in center, to be honest, because that's his best trait. Like, he's like an 80 grade fielder. So
Yeah,
maybe-
obviously they brought back Cody Bellinger. That's going to make a huge difference. Michael Bush comes over in a trade, probably
Who's
plays
the-
first base.
who's their DH?
It might be Michael Bush. It might be Bellinger. Bellinger might play first. They might DH Michael Bush. I think they
I
have
was
some
thinking-
options.
Maybe Suzuki DH and Bellinger in like right field. That's what
That's
I think
also an
I need
option.
to.
I think they might kind of rotate guys
Uh,
around just to get them off their feet sometimes too.
I like their lineup. I mean, I really think it's an underrated lineup. You got Horner, Swanson, Happ, Bellinger, Suzuki, Morel, Bush, Gomes, and then Madrigal. That's like the projected guys. I like that lineup. We'll see. Their bullpen's pretty shaky. Not a lot of really high-end guys there. Not a lot of names that if I said right now, many people would know. So we'll see. What
Hey, I need you to put your fidget toy down.
are you talking about? I'm not doing anything.
Your mic is picking up some like things.
There is a room right across from me.
So they're getting busy. Anyways, I have the Cubs winning the NL Central. That's the division, right? Yeah, NL Central. I like Dansby Swanson a lot. I think he'll have a really good season. Bellinger, he's gonna be Bellinger. He's not gonna be an MVP again. Go ahead, write it down, send it in, send the ticket in. He's not gonna have another season like that, I believe. But he's gonna be a good player for that team. Like I said, I have them winning the division this year. So before you ask, I take the over.
I like it. Lineup wise, I do agree that the top half of the lineup looks really good. I think in order for them to win the division, they need Belly to maybe not win the MVP, but have more than he needs to get his home run totals into the 30s. He needs to drive in 100 runs. He might need to swipe 15, 20 bags. I think he needs to have a top 10 type of season. Because I do worry about their back half a little bit. Nick Madrigal will be entering arbitration this year. What's his actual value going to be? I think this is a make or break year for him. He's been kind of not great in the lineup for them. Patrick Wisdom is a bench bat who could replace Madrigal or Bush split time as well.
Dog.
You're a Patrick Wisdom guy?
Platoon player for fantasy.
There we go. PCA, I don't know if he's going to break spring with the club, but he'll definitely see time up this year. I definitely think he is the center field starter at some point, like you were saying, Aiden. And then pitching wise, Justin Steele, obviously he looked like a Cy Young kind of guy last year. Tyone and Hendricks. I think they have a good 8-9. I don't really know about the rest of the bullpen. Looks a little shaky to me. But a Cade Horton, who was the first rounder in 22 for them, I think he probably makes a debut if something in the rotation goes bad. If they need an arm replacement or just an innings eater for a little bit. Cade Horton, a really high ranked starting pitcher for them in AAA. Expect to see him come up at some point soon. So 81-81. No, you got the over. I am going to say it's a Cody Bellinger truth type of season, and he's going to hit 30 home runs and drive in 100 RBI. So I will take the over as well. Aiden?
I'm gonna go over, but I'm not as Cody Bellinger high as you are. I think he's gonna regress a little bit. He's not gonna be as bad as he was those like last 2 years with the Dodgers, but I think there is gonna be a little bit of regression. He didn't have the best like advanced stats and the best what is it, the Statcast stats, all that stuff. So we'll see. I think the Cubs is still one of the better rosters in this division.
Yeah, I do too. I just think that he needs to be over 4 WAR as a player for them to win it. I don't know that I'm not saying it's to get to a 7 WAR, but I think he has to be a 30 home run kind of guy in order to do it. I just think there's a few too many holes to love it. But we'll find out. The Cardinals have holes, they have holes. I think this could be a fun Cardinals Cubs kind of old school rivalry in the Central race to first place. Next up, a team that I think got worse this offseason. The Milwaukee Brewers. Last year they were a 92-win team. This year projected at 80-82. Noah, tell me about those Brewers.
Man, the Milwaukee Brewers, man. That's the most you're a Milwaukee Brewers fan, man. Like, it's like the most rare thing I think I've ever heard in my life. Anyways, let's move on to the team and not their fans. I like Rhys Hoskins a lot. Hate what happened to him last year with the ACL thing in Philly. Philly made the right choice at first base. Let's see. I pulled a bunch of DL Hall rookie cards the other day.
I've got an auto rookie DL Hall hanging in the back over here too somewhere.
Yeah, I just haven't pulled an autograph yet. So I say I'm done every time I buy a new pack, and then I go in and I buy a new pack. Brandon Woodruff, cool. It's just nothing's like catching my eye here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're playing baseball in Milwaukee. Like, what are we doing? Isn't that like a conversation being brought up? Like they're wanting to relocate or something, or they might have to move stadiums.
I haven't really heard that about the Brewers.
I saw something about like the Arizona guy saying it, but that wasn't anything like, hey, we are moving. Only team I know for sure is like the Athletics. They do want to get some expansion teams, though.
I could see Milwaukee being a rumor. I think their stadium has some issues. They might be on the board of, like, we might be getting a new stadium soon, but I think they're firmly in Milwaukee for a while.
Okay. Yeah, just go ahead and cut that part out. I'm kidding.
So, the Brewers, in my opinion, they could have kept everyone this offseason, brought out the same rosters last season, and I think they would have significantly declined from last season because they lost Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell's a really good freaking manager. And I really hate that for this team. He's had one of the worst hitting lineups in baseball. They constantly see if they can make the playoffs with the worst lineup in baseball. It's just some fun game to them. And Craig Counsell and that pitching staff got them to the playoffs. Now the pitching staff, it's got some good guys. It's significantly still worse. Brandon Woodruff's injured for a bit. He's going to get injured when he comes back. He does it every time. You've got Peralta. Peralta's pretty good. I like Miley. Don't know about the other three, so don't know about that. The bullpen's pretty good. I like the bullpen. They got one of the best closers in the league. But, the lineup still just does not move me. Is Yelich going to be good again this year? Is he going to regress? Is Rhys Hoskins going to look good coming right off an ACL tear? You're bringing up a fun rookie in Churio, probably. I mean, that's going to be pretty nice. But other than that, I just don't know. I don't like the lineup. The pitching staff isn't as good as it's been. This could really be one of those teams that everyone sits here and says 80, 85 wins, and they could run out there and win 75.
Yeah, they extended Brandon Woodruff past his injury because he's out for the whole year with that shoulder surgery. They signed him for this year and next year. Reese Hoskins, I don't think you can expect peak Hoskins this year. Kind of like how Acuna never really looked comfortable the year prior, and then okay, now you saw peak Acuna last year. I think it'll be a similar thing. He'll be okay, but he won't be as good as he can be. And DL Hall brings a lot of kind of question marks, but interesting to see what he actually looks like for them. The thing that worries me, I think, the most is that there's 4 rookies. There's Frelick, Churio, Terrain, and then the trade acquisition, Joey Ortiz, that came over in that Baltimore trade for Burns as well. Yelich and Adames are going to have to carry. They're going to have to be middle of the order type of guys that drive in the runs. And that's for guys that haven't necessarily been top level hitters consistently.
I like Contreras too.
Yeah, and Contreras is good behind the plate. I think having Gary as a free agent signing, maybe they can run Contreras and Gary a couple times in the DH spot. But the lineup does not inspire me, kind of like what Noah, you were saying. Pitching wise, Peralta's good. It's his thing now, but it would look a whole lot better with Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. And now it's just kind of Peralta and Wade Miley. DL Hall, we're going to see if he can be an actual starter. But I don't know, man. They've got a couple rookies, Carlos Rodriguez and Robert Gasser, both sit pretty high ranked starting pitchers for them. They might come up at some point if they're in it down the stretch. But for me, 80 and 82, I'm taking the under on the Milwaukee Brewers.
Same.
Me too.
The Cincinnati Reds projected at 79 and 83. What you got?
This is a team that's like, this team is so young. Like they are just hoping for, I don't know, the young guys to just go out there and play ball. This is a team that could, in my opinion, win the division. They could also compete for last in the division. It really just depends.
Agreed.
Their lineup is just full of young guys other than like Candelario. He's the only one that breaks 30 on that lineup. And you're hoping that he does what he did last year. He was a pretty good bat last year. And then I guess just hoping for the positives of the young guys. I'm wondering how it's going to look strikeout-wise for these guys next year. Because this lineup could be like last year's Seattle Mariners lineup, just striking out a crap ton. And then you got the rotation. The rotation is also 3 young guys and then Martinez and Montas. And all these guys are boom or bust guys. Like even Montas is a boom or bust. It's kind of insane how just boom or bust this team is. Hoping Hunter Green's fastball just doesn't get popped. Hoping he doesn't get injured. Ashcraft and Abbott, hoping they figure it out too. Yeah, that'd be really nice for them. And then their bullpen's not the worst. Diaz started off really hot last year, then kind of started sucking near the end. Hope that he can put together a really good full season this year.
On Candelario real quick, since 2020, right? Just kind of going through his stuff. 2020, he had a weighted runs above average, 9.3. Obviously, shortened season, so that number's kind of like, what does that mean? But he had a WRC plus of 140, so offensively was producing well. A walk rate close to 10%, strikeout rate under 25%, and that stays pretty consistent for the next 3 years. 2021, over 10% walk rate, 119 WRC plus. 22 was a weird year for him. 23, 117 WRC plus. Walk rate around 10, strikeout rate under 25. So, like, he's been kind of doing it with the bat for a while. The thing that's been kind of, like, lowering his value is his defensive WAR, I guess you could say. But offensively, like, he's 10.8 offensive value, 15.4 offensive value, 13.3 offensive value. So, move him to first base where there's less defensive metrics surrounding him. And I think this could be a good year for Candelario to kind of earn some breakout flowers. I think he already kind of has been good, but this could be his year hitting third or fourth in that order, hitting beside Spencer Steer, De La Cruz, Jonathan India, and he could fit right in there really nicely and driving a lot of runs.
Agreed.
And then on the pitching side, I mean, you mentioned it, there's no, like, the Cardinals had nobody under the age of 32. Frankie Montas is about to turn 31. Nick Martinez is 33, but then they have Hunter Green, 24, Graham Ashcraft, 26, Andrew Abbott, 24, and a couple of their guys coming up will be pretty young as well through the farm. So there's a lot of inexperience, not a whole lot of games started for most of this team. Like I said, they're going to just kind of roll it out there and play ball. To me, the X factor might be Tyler Stevenson. I think he might be the guy that if he hits the way he did a couple years ago, they could win the division. If he gets injured again, or if he misses significant time, or is not playing very well, then I think they fall to the middle, and then it's going to come down to, okay, Indy and De La Cruz, are they the guys? But this is a fun team. Like, I think this is a team that when you get a chance to watch them, try to watch them and see what those young guys can do. 79 and 83 over under.
Over.
I'm an optimistic guy. I usually believe in the boom over the bust. I'll go over.
I'm really struggling because, like you said, Aiden, this could be like an 85 win team if everything clicks. It could be a 70 win team if they don't. I think it's kind of one or the other. I don't think they play the line.
How many did they win last year? Let me check that real quick.
Last year the Reds were 82 and 80.
82.
So I think
they can win more than that.
I think they've improved, even with guys like Joey Votto leaving. I think it's a good leave for them. So I'll take the over, but I'm going to say it's maybe just barely. And last but not least, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who were one of the most fun teams in baseball last April, got off to a really hot start, but Fangraphs has them 77 and 85. Last year they were 76 and 86, so they're looking for almost an identical record a year from last year. Key offseason moves: they brought in World Series champions Aroldis Chapman and Martin Perez, cut for another year. They brought in Tellez and Grandal, and then Mitch Keller, their young starting pitch one, got a 5-year extension, I think. The Pirates, kind of like the Reds, there's a lot of fun names here. So, Noah, Aiden, what do you think about the Pirates?
The pitchers after. Oh, my bad. You go.
No, I was just BSing talk.
The pitchers after Mitch Keller are kind of very worrying. Like,
yes.
I don't know if any of these guys are going to be worth anything. Maybe Martin Perez reverts to first time back in Texas. Martin Perez, and just
you get 22 Martin Perez.
I don't know, man. The lineup's fun. I'm not the highest on O'Neal Cruz. I know a lot of people do like him. It'll be fun to see if him or Ellie, who starts getting the most hype, if both of them start doing good this year.
I'm really excited to watch that matchup. Kind of see them like compete for that shortstop crown in the NL Central. I think that's a fun storyline.
It's a good storyline. But I don't know. The lineup's not. I don't know. I think this is the clear favorite to get last in the division. And I don't really know much more to say about it. Still upset with them for not giving us Bednar last year, even though I know Bednar doesn't want to leave Pittsburgh. But, it worked out. We just had to trade a future Cy Young winner away for Chapman.
Noah, you got anything to add?
It's the Pirates, Brody.
Beautiful
yeah,
stadium.
Yeah, beautiful stadium. Such a shame they have such an awful team. Um, yeah, like you said, bring in some fun names. Put some butts in some seats maybe on the weekends. Bring in some kind of revenue. It's pretty much all I gotta say. But
Okay. Well, O'Neal Cruz is back, hopefully healthy, ready to rock for the year. Paired up with Brian Reynolds, Brian Hayes, who's a really good third baseman. He started to kind of click offensively last year, finally. Jack Sawinski, who is kind of a sneaky good player. It could be a fun lineup. I think it really could. Henry Davis, they were kind of messing around with him in the outfield last year some. He'll be a catcher, which will probably take some processes off of him. What's up?
question, brother. Where's what's his name? What's his name?
I'm going to need a little bit more.
He's a Japanese player. Is it G1 Bay?
G1 Bay.
Connor Jones?
So, you know what? Where's G-Man Choi at?
G-Man Choi is a Met, and so is Rowdy Tellez.
No!
Oh, wait, not Rowdy. No.
Rowdy's here.
Wait, is Rowdy also a Met?
No, Rowdy is a Pirate. They brought in Rowdy.
Is he? Then is it there's three big guys. Is G-Man Choi a Met or Vogelback and G-Man Choi both Blue Jays?
I don't know what you're talking about right now. G1 Bay and Connor Joe are both Pirates, so let's focus on that for right now.
Hold up. Have you not seen the Blue Jays picture that shows their starting O-line? And it's like Vlad and some of the big guys.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, G-Man Choi is with the Mets now.
But Ji-hwan Bae is with the Pirates.
Okay, that was my question.
Two opposite body types, and we got them.
There is a common denominator right there with them. All right, but hey, let's get into the luxury tax tracker.
Okay.
We have the Cubs at number 9 in the league with 222 mil. We have the Cardinals at number 11 with 199 mil. We have the Brewers in 19th, 141. Reds at 28 with 104. And the Pittsburgh Pirates coming in second to last with 103. Go figure.
Which is kind of how we have it projected, right? We kind of are thinking Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers, Reds, Pirates. Like, that's the logical kind of...
Spend the money. Spend the money.
The Reds a little bit above the Brewers. Probably.
Spend the money.
I don't think the Brewers are going to be good.
Hey, I will say, though, the Pirates, they extended Brian Reynolds last year. That was a good move. They extended Mitch Keller. Maybe they'll extend O'Neal and Henry Davis, and they'll kind of lock up those guys for 6 years, and maybe they'll make a splash somewhere. That'd be kind of cool if they would do that. They definitely have the capital right now to do it. This is what I thought was kind of interesting about the Central, though, the playoff odds for this group and how kind of close they all are realistically compared to like the NL East. They've got the Cardinals at 54% playoff team, the Cubs at 41%, the Brewers at 34%, the Reds at 25%, and the Pirates at 17%. And I think that just kind of goes to show that really anybody could win this division. I think it's fair to say that if you finish second, you're not getting a wild card spot. So yeah, it sounds like we're thinking that Cubs playoff team is incoming this year, right?
Yeah.
Not in wave.
For Philip.
For Philip. Obviously, I think the Bellinger re-signing is what's going to be the difference maker there. But only time will tell. Anything to add on the NL Central?
Don't think so.
Boring. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today on Swing for Contact. Give us a like and share. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will be back next week with the NL West.